Hey, welcome everybody. It's happy hour. Yes, it is. Welcome in. It's Friday. Back in the 74-28. Coming with my Dodgers. Come on. They're over that shoulder. Come on, Dodgers. Down 3-1. We can win 3. We can do this. Hey, it was on this date in 1968. Yeah, I was alive. I was 4 years old. I have very few memories, of course, from that time. But this was one of them, believe it or not. I just knew the adults around me were pretty upset at this whole scene and that these guys got kicked off of our Olympic team. And, of course, Tommy Smith and John Carlos with their salute at the 1968 200-meter medal ceremony at the games. I wrote today on my post that 50 years later, they're building statues about this. Sometimes you take a stand and you don't know where it's going to lead. Anyways, lesson learned. Also, if you notice from that Twitter, John Carlos hit me back. Wow, that's fun. Okay, happy hour. Let's have some fun. Let's start the show. I'm a Venice, California-born, Los Angeles-based sports fan, one that has played, coached, announced, and promoted sports my whole life. My love affair with sports started in my own backyard and has led me to this podcast. Thanks to the support of the Amateur Athletic Union in East Bay, I'm excited to bring you Sports Stories with Denny Lennon.
Sports Stories with Denny Lennon aims to bring its subscribers interesting, unique, and uplifting stories. You can find us at sportstoriespodcast.com. We drop audio and video podcasts every Thursday and go live on YouTube Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Many guests have shared their stories with host Denny Lennon, such as Super Bowl and BCS champions Brendan Ion Badejo, Peter Boulware, and Trevor Lawrence, three-time Olympic gold medalist Karch Karai, Kentucky Derby winner Doug O'Neill, NCAA champions Toby Bailey and St. John Smith, Hall of Famers Jimmy Lennon Jr., Rudy Tomjanovich, world champions Boom Boom Mancini and Tim Leary, AAU Sullivan Award winners Catherine Plummer, Sabrina Ionescu, and Spencer Lee, not to mention the head honcho, AAU president Dr. Roger Gowdy. We've also had best-selling authors Wesley King and Wayne Coffey, and our Sports Stories favorite Norm Bass, the first African-American to play 2 professional sports post-World War II. Become a friend of the show on Patreon, and you can help keep the dream alive. Go to patreon.com/Denny Lennon or go to our website to see all of our social media links. If you have an interesting, unique, or uplifting story to tell, contact us on sportstoriespodcast.com.
Coming to you live from Los Angeles. We're in the shadow of LAX. It's the top-rated video podcast in the Sentinella Adobe Corridor. It's where we share a wall with the Korean United Methodist, and you can see St. Jerome Church from our back porch. We're in the 74-28 studio where Jimbo and Marley run the show, and Buck kicks back until he's got to kick it out. It's SSDL Live at 5 on YouTube. Yes, it is. Welcome inside the 74-28. Yep. Top-rated video podcast in the Sentinella Adobe Corridor. Let's go, Dodgers. Get it together. 6 o'clock start. We'll be ready for you. Hey, is my family here? I hope so. They've been slacking a little. I'm not going to lie to you. St. Mark, St. Bernard people? Yep. Okay. How about my VBC and my AAUers? Let's do this. Top 5 states outside of California supporting the show tonight. Nevada. That makes sense. Our guest tonight, Josh Lozano from Sin City. He's the host of Benchwarmers and Burners podcast. He's on. So Nevada's checking in. Thank you, Nevada. New York is coming strong. Michigan's coming strong. Of course, Texas, always my peeps. In OH, no IO. Nobody said IO. Nobody paying attention. Okay. It's all right. Hey, Ohio, thank you for supporting the show. Okay. As mentioned, Josh Lozano, he hosts a podcast called Benchwarmers and Burners, and we'll be going to him in just a little bit. He also is on a satellite show where he gives betting advice, so we need that, as you well know, because Backgammon League, it's still coming. Don't worry. All right, here we go. Let's see what we had this week.
Like the new logo?
Oh, wow. New logo. That's what we got this week, and it's called the Friday Recap. Okay, on Tuesday, we make our way out every Tuesday to check out one of Jonas Never and one of his great murals. He's a great muralist, and this was Hispanic Heritage inspired. The Peacock TV show True Colors had commissioned Jonas to do this one, And we covered every one of them, right? There's Leguizamo, and then those two young YouTubers, I don't know who they were. No, anyways, Never 1959 is his handle. Check his stuff out. He's the best. All right, Wednesday, A-Top, Udo, Emma. Yep, Compton Magic founder and CEO. That's a big pull for us. Thank you, Carlos, for hooking that one up. A-Top is doing great work in his community for an organization, the Compton Magic Club basketball team, that is sending young men not only to the NBA, but back into the community to help. And it was inspiring talk. And so you want to look that one up and see our talk with them. It was outstanding. Thursday, we dropped Dave Epperson, part number 2. That's right. He and his wife, Bernice, the co-founders of the Volleyball Festival, the event that changed youth sports. All right, tonight we got Josh Lozano on our happy hour show. That's right, it's happy hour. Did I forget to say cheers? Cheers, everybody. All right, I noticed I got my LA going tonight. And also, I was going to say this. Because Josh is out in Las Vegas, Casablanca does not sponsor this show. So whatever, Carlos. I mean, you would think he could send a shuttle out there, but he didn't. All right. Okay, what else we got? Oh, I know. Twitter. Hey, we try to do what we can on Twitter. So let's get some results from our recent polls that just wrapped up. One of which was Karch and St. John. They went to a game 7 on my poll about who is the greatest King of the Beach player ever. And I asked our fans, game 7 should be what? A single game of backgammon or a best of 7 of backgammon? Single game of backgammon won. All right. Had another poll out there. What would you rather do, or what would you rather be? Known for being the best ever at your position or on the best ever team? That's an interesting question, right? Joe Morgan, he could have been both. 5-time Gold Glover, Silver Slugger, 10-time All-Star, Hall of Famer. He was also part of that crazy 75 Big Red Machine that won 108 wins and the World Series on the best team. Took the victory. Wow, that is nice. I bet most men answered best at your position. All right, who's your favorite Los Angeles AD? That would be an Anthony Davis, right? I personally was pushing for the USC Anthony Davis, 2-time college football champion and 3-time baseball champ for the Trojans. But it was on the heroics of Anthony Davis, game 2 winner and the NBA final championship for the Lakers, that the Lakers AD won that one. And finally, whose catch was better? Cody Bellinger in the NLDS against the Padres, game 2. That was a beaut. And Willie Mays, 1954. I'm guessing I just have too many young people coming on my Twitter account, because the Say Hey Kids catch was insane. But Cody Bellinger won that one. Okay, right? Those are fun. More coming. Matter of fact, I think we have one coming pretty soon. And if I'm not mistaken, it has to do with Hall & Oates. Am I right? Okay, so here's the thing. Hall & Oates, favorite band of the show. Sorry, Venice, but, Hall & Oates, come on. And it, interestingly enough, came up on the last 2 weeks on our show, where Jeff Pearlman, 2 weeks ago, the New York Times bestseller, he came on and he talked about, and then last week, Eric Hillwig, did he talk about it? So we have put together, I think Riley put something together. I don't really know what it is. I do know it may be R-rated. So this is the Friday happy hour show. So that, and so we got a little combo of both, and then a question for you. Let's see what we got.
If you have young kids, maybe turn them away from the TV.
Maybe. They got to learn sometime. I got to apologize one thing. We couldn't get the rights to, I can't go for that, to play behind your montage. Okay. And I made a call, couldn't get it done. But I understand you're big Hall & Oates fans before we get into your book.
I am a huge Hall & Oates fan.
Right.
You're a fan?
Oh, big time.
Wait, let me see if you can see this real quick. Hanging on my wall right there, autographed Hall & Oates record.
Oh. And as we were kicking around on the internet, we found your Hall & Oates video, which I could not believe how funny that was. And how long ago did you do that one?
I'm trying to remember the Hall & Oates video. Oh no,
you played John Oates. So
yes, no, I do remember. No, that's old. Yeah, that's old. You guys went way back.
Yeah, we did.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I remember. What was your question about?
What did you do to get into character John Oates? You look him up on Wikipedia?
No, I did not. The guy directing the sketch was like, you guys are gay. I was like, got it.
That's you guys nailed it. You nailed
He
it.
was like,
That's
you're,
good
like
job.
you're doing coke and you're gay. And action.
Where is the show? Okay, it's the Friday Happy Hour show. Eric Helwig took us in a bad place. And so you can go vote now at Sports Stories DL. It's up. What do me and my compa, the box gobbler, are we resemble more Hall & Oates or Barnaby Jones and Frank Cannon? Okay, I'm leaning on Hall & Oates. That's where I know I'd vote if I could. All right, fun stuff. Hey, we got a big announcement, and this one is for real. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is going to be syndicated on cable. That's right, LA 36 on all of your local cable stations or carriers. We will be syndicated every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 a.m. The SSDL show will air. They also stream to several OTT apps. So it's a big move when you consider LA 36 has an outreach between Los Angeles County and Orange County to close to 8 million homes. So there you go. Empire building. That's what we do. And here we go. So we got a lot of work to do this weekend to get 3 shows ready for next week. But we're going to do it because we got to bring the people what they want. All right. More Hall & Oates. I guess that's what they want. Who knows? All right. LA 36. So that's our big announcement. Second big announcement. We're bringing in Josh Lozano. That's right. He's the host of the Benchwarmers and Burners podcast. He's got marketing experience, and that's what he does. He's also he also hosts a show, a Sunday morning show on KUNV HD2, which covers and gives free sports betting picks. We got questions for this guy. Let's bring him on. Josh Lozano. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Denny. Congratulations, too, on being on cable, man.
Thank you. I thought you were going to congratulate me on the Hall & Oates Twitter poll, but I'm guessing, I forget when I look at you, I say, oh, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have him on the Happy Hour show. He doesn't have ID appropriate. And then I'm like, do you even know who Hall & Oates are?
Oh, yeah. I love it. Yeah.
Yes.
Nicola Opera song for Jimmy Butler. No, I'm kidding. I know more than just that.
That's right. They did. So, Josh, first question out of the gate is look, we're building a backgammon alliance. It's going to be called the National Backgammon Alliance, and it's with the Amateur Athletic Union and a few sponsors, and we're going to play this out across the country. It's going to be big, and so we're gonna want you to give us some advice on setting gambling odds for backgammon. Let's first look at a little video so you can get familiar with it. How about that?
I love that.
Here's a little back. As long as you got the graphic with all that.
He's going. Go for it.
All right. And look at this. See, it's ancient. The Sumerians came up with this. And wow, Marley's pulling some pictures from way back. All right. There it is. Here's some more. Okay. Let's throw up the logo. It shows. Okay. So look at this. There's our modern backgammon. But what we need is that logo that shows all of our alliance people. We don't have that.
Come back to me.
All right. We'll come back to that. Hey, Josh, what we got going, though, is Mick Ultra's going to jump in. Amateur Athletic Union as is going to be the sanctioning governing body of this. Be adult-only league, right, with Mick Ultra, East Bay. We also got a point system that we're going to roll out with a guy named Johnny Mohawk and so forth. So what do you think? How could we set some gambling odds for the backgammon?
this, I had to do a little bit of research. So I was perusing through the internet, right? And actually, the very first backgammon world tournament was actually held in Las Vegas, Nevada in 1967. The winner was Tim Holland. So I think that if they would do this, it would be kind of traditional, kind of like tennis, where you would be betting on the individual player itself. And when there was the dry period of sports being due to COVID, the only thing that people can bet on was like Russian ping pong or the most obscure things. And then people are like, are people really going to be betting on this? Is someone going to be betting on like Russian darts? But guess what? People did. I mean, I think that there's a market for this. You would not be surprised what people would bet on. And even if you can't watch it, they will still just wait and refresh. So I think that's how you would do it. I think, like anything, you'd have to limit the amount of handle, the amount that you would allow to be bet on to start out. Because if I'm being honest, the odds makers probably, like, this is uncharted territory, but you allow them, if the odds makers, to them, they make money if they have just options for people to bet on. Because at the end of the day, long term, they understand that most people will lose money. So if they can have another option like backgammon, then they would allow it. Now, what you would have to do too is, just like in any sport, you would probably have to do power rankings. So who's ever the best backgammon guy at the time, he would obviously be the favorite, and then you would work on it like that. I think there'd definitely be a market for it. But something that was also interesting too was when I was researching the history of backgammon, there was actually the state of Oregon was suing Ted Barr, right? Because they said he was promoting gambling because of backgammon. And he had to argue that backgammon is not a game of luck. It's actually a game of skill.
Yep.
Yeah. So that went through and that passed. So now you're actually, none of that really matters because now we're talking about gambling on it. And
Love it. Okay. So, Josh, I like it. You did your homework. You're ready to go. Look, I think I would probably throw the odds off, considering I'm clearly the best player amongst everybody I play. I win all the major championships amongst us. They may be unofficial, but I probably have to take a step back so I wouldn't throw the odds into a ray, because if I was both commissioner and a player, that would probably might be a game people couldn't gamble on. What's your thought?
Yeah, maybe you could what was it? You could go, that's like the Michael Jordan route, where he was like when he was on the Wizards, he was the GM and the player. So
good ball.
Yeah, we'll see though. But I think anyone who's investing money, because let's not call it betting, let's just say investing, right, in backgammon, I think that they understand. I think that they would put heavy money on the commissioner/player. I think that'd be a great story that would run. And I could see a Sports Illustrated cover right there. Denny Lennon from table to backgammon.
There it is. So how does a sport like it actually get a line in Vegas or something like that? So, I mean, theoretically, I walk into Caesars and I could bet, on my Lakers, my Rams, my Dodgers, if they'll stay alive, or my backgammon. How does that happen? Like, what's the process?
Yeah, so how it works when these bookmakers make lines, and just for a little context for the audience, I graduated from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. I know I look pretty young, but I've been betting for a little bit. Got the show about it. But how Oddsmakers makes lines is what they do is they look at all the numbers, right? You have these professional books. Like when I worked over as a production assistant at VEASAN, the Vegas Stats and Information Network. It's actually a radio station inside the South Point. And the guy the head odds maker is Jimmy the Greek. He's like a legend, right?
Right.
What he does is he initially does all his homework. He looks at the lines. Like, let's just say that you got the Patriots and you got the Bills, right? So you look at all this and you're like, okay, time of possession of the Patriots. They hold the ball pretty long. The Bills, they would prefer blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I think the total for it, if these two teams, they probably would be 55 points over under, right? So he initially sets that line at the beginning of the week. When you set that line, you can't put heavy bets on it because they limit the handle. Because the people who actually bet it, like the sharps, like guys like Billy Walter, they're actually better at setting the lines than the actual odds makers, if that makes any sense. So they'll put a line out like what they think it'll be 55. And then if they get in and they get hammered, like everyone takes the over, they're like, well, shit, we have to make this higher, from 55 to 58. Now when there's a sharps and the squares. When the squares usually bet, it's on the weekend. You know, you're trying to get some beer money. Yeah, you're trying to get some beer money. You're like, oh, you know, what's the Patriots Bills line? Oh, it's 58. Oh yeah, I'll take that. Not knowing it was originally 55, and it already got bought up by these guys. So that's usually how lines get manipulated. So it starts with the book because they do their own research. And before the game, the sharps are actually the ones who manipulate the lines into what it would be more close like.
Great. Okay, so here's what I got so far. And Marley will play this in another box. But what we got so far is we got a guy named Johnny Mohawk. He's going to keep our point standing list. Right? Okay, so he's going to keep our point standing list. Then we got a guy. Here's who we got. That's Johnny Mohawk. Then we got this guy. He's a legendary broadcaster. His name's Randy Rosenblum. And he's going to be the voice of the National Backgammon Alliance. Okay? So we already got that. And then my boy Johnny Mohawk is also going to live stream these games. So they're going to be available live. It's going to be sanctioned by the venerable AAU organization. We have official merchandise for it. And, of course, your Mick Ultra available to you. So we have everything set up. I'm going to ask you, can you be our official odds maker for the NBA?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you give me the list. I got you. So as long as you're the one, as long as it's your money that people are taking with you, I'll make the odds for you.
I love it. Okay, we got the next step in. Now, this is probably coming out over the holidays, maybe just after the new year, because we're negotiating with Ultra as we speak. But when that comes through, that's going to be great. Okay, so one of the things we got now with our new audio board is people that call into the show. We got Ronald on line 1. Let me put on my headphones here. Hi, Ronald.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, welcome to the show, buddy.
Denny?
Good. You're on with Josh.
Thank you. Oh, hey, Josh. How you doing?
Hey, doing well. How you doing, my man?
Hey, I got a question. So, with laying the odds on certain football games and stuff like that, how do you guys determine, you know, what the odds are if someone comes down with COVID?
Oh, so what sport in specific are you talking about, or you just overall?
Well, I'm talking about football, but it could be basketball or anything like that. But my thing is, do the odds are they hindered because they find out that a ball player is not going to play, or how does that work?
So when so how it works is when players get announced out, not just for COVID, let's just say injury, like traditional, because the COVID is something that's brand new that we haven't experienced. So I'll tell you how they normally do it, and then how I've noticed they've recently had to change it because of COVID. So when a player goes out, they'll take they usually shave off a point or two. But when they do that, though, you don't really get that much value because the public just assumes, like, for example, Michael Thomas isn't playing for the Saints, right? That's Drew Brees' number one target.
Right.
Okay, you know, the Saints dropped from a 6-point favorite to a 4-point favorite. But really, the only time that it really matters, because a player doesn't impact it that much unless it's a quarterback. A quarterback's really the only player that, if it drops enough, that's the only time that you look at it, because he actually controls the game. Like if if JJ Watt goes out and the points drop by 2, like Texans go from a 6-point favorite to a 4-point favorite, like that's kind of like a diluted line, because JJ Watt wasn't really going to affect the overall total points as much as a quarterback would. You see that, for example, Cam Newton's a perfect example.
What happens if it's like a last minute thing, like one of the quarterbacks, or let's say the quarterback, right, is all of a sudden said they're out. Does that change? Does that affect, you know, the outplay? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Would they take that game off the board if, like, suddenly, Phillip Rivers is out?
So they wouldn't take it off the board. You're kind of just SOL for whatever odds you got. So, for example, if you, it happened with Cam Newton. It's a perfect example. The Chiefs were, I think they were about, let's just say, an 8-point favorite, and it shot up after the double digits. Kansas, instead of having to win by 8 playing against Cam Newton, now Cam Newton's out. It was Chiefs were about 10, 11-point favorites. Now, if you're sitting there and you had the Chiefs -8, so 8 points total to win, and Cam gets out, you're happy-go-lucky. You're just like, wow, I got this at the better odds. Right. But the opposite end, you're sitting there and you're like, I bet this ticket thinking that Cam Newton was going to be able to just run the ball on fourth down. Now, betting on Brian Hoyer. You go to a sports book with that ticket, they'll be like, hey, sorry, man, that's just like part of the only real sport where you're able to avoid a ticket like that is baseball. If you don't take full action, you take just pitchers.
Okay.
Got it.
Hey, Ronald, before
Wow.
I let you go, I'm curious who you're going to vote for in the Twitter poll. Do you think Denny and Ray look more like Hall & Oates or Barnaby Jones and Frank Cannon?
Definitely Hall & Oates.
I thought so too.
But also, you guys kind of remind me of the Miami Vice guys.
Oh, good call. Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Ronald,
But anyway,
I hope you wiped that phone
Hey,
down
Denny?
before you made the call.
hey, Denny,
Yeah.
love your show. Listen to it all the time now. I'm glad I called in. Josh, thanks for the information. I appreciate it. And have a good show.
Thank you, Ronald. Okay, excellent. We have a very sophisticated. Am I back up on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a very sophisticated system where one person can call in at a time. Josh, but that's interesting. I'm curious how COVID has affected, sports overall as far as the betting lines go.
Yeah, it's made it really difficult for odds makers. So, for example, Nick Saban right now, it looks like he's going to be able to come out for the Georgia game. But when he was announced out, and this is a coach, so when he was announced out, Georgia went from being a 5-point underdog to a 3-point underdog, right?
Wow.
So they're saying losing Nick Saban is the equivalent of losing 2 points, right?
That's pretty nutty for a coach level to get that kind of recognition. That's
Oh
nutty.
yeah, especially too when we said that in football, the only real player that really affects the total, that should affect the total if you're betting, is the quarterback. He's the only one who will take enough points off or put it. But college is a little different, so we'll see. The reason that they do that too is because they know public. Like I said, they sway it for the public. But for example, because of COVID, they had to start. Like in baseball, that made it so difficult for them because you'd bet on the Marlins and then your ticket's void because the players got COVID. They had to be quarantined, right? And then now instead of betting the Marlins, you just get refunded. But if you're betting like on an online book or on your phone, that's nothing because you can get you refunded. But if you're going to like an actual casino with cold hard cash, you gotta make that drive back, give them back the ticket, get that cash back. Now you got to look for another bet. So for professional sports bettors that live off of it, it is. COVID really did throw a wrench, and then it's hard too because you sometimes get those late scratches where you get something at a specific odds, thinking this is the roster you're going to get. Now a player gets pulled, and now you're either you're on the lucky side where you got better odds, or you got worse odds than what originally would have been because of COVID. It's like uncharted territory. So
it is. You're in it. You're in it at like such an early age, or early time. Like things are going to change. Hey, we got somebody from where you're originating from Las Vegas. Pete's on our caller hotline. Hey, Pete, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, Denny?
Doing good, buddy. Hopefully you wiped down that phone after Ronald used it, and you're on with Josh Lozano.
Hey,
absolutely. Got my mask on too.
Good.
All right, so I was you were talking earlier about line movements and sharps versus squares and the difference between the way the books react to action. What's your take on reverse line movement? Or when you were watching things change in a given week, line goes from 55 to 58, but that book's actually trying to protect itself against all that under action. Do you tend to ride that under? Are you on that over? What do you like to do?
So the issue is, if you can go contrarian, I do recommend it, but it's not like it's not like the end all be all. And the thing is, the information is more open, but you always got to figure out the difference between how much one side is getting amount of the tickets and how much handle it's getting. So you also really.
So do you care more about the bigger bets or the more volume? Because obviously the volume's public.
No, yeah. So you always go where the money is. You always try and put yourself where the house is and where the sharp money is. The only issue with it too is like what we were talking about. Sometimes you might figure out, when you're looking, because it's public. The money usually isn't public information, but thankfully with Twitter, so many books now for publicity posts like, hey, we got these huge tickets coming on the Dodgers or that. You always want to try and put yourself on where the sharps are and where the house is. The only issue is sometimes people do it too late. So you get to a game, like for example, the Arkansas versus the Georgia State game. That kept that
Over.
yeah, it was over, but it started what is like 70, and then the total got bought up by like 2-3 points. So you're sitting there thinking, well, do I really want to get it this high? It's that inflated. But guess what? It went well over 100. So, but then there's other times too. It's where I think it just varies on the sport. Like for example, sports betting is almost like a pyramid, right? All the action is on the major four, which is NFL, MLB, basketball. But when you could kind of be like, oh, are they moving it because there's a lot of money on this, or are they moving it to try and that's for like the bottom
Get that even action.
Yeah. But when you start going up to the more obscure things, like let's just say WNBA, if you see the Seattle Storm, tennis, if you see the Seattle Storm go from a 5-point favorite to a 6-point favorite, absolutely that is just only sharp money. It's not because there's just not that many people who bet on the WNBA. So if it moves, or same thing with tennis, same thing with like bowling, if those lines move, it's almost explicitly just sharp money.
Josh, I got a question. 2 questions actually. One, you were saying the top 4: college football, NBA, and then maybe NFL was the 4th. Backgammon. That's my first question. And then my second question would be: I hear kids in the background. Do you suggest that Pete use his college fund money to gamble, or should he leave that money alone?
Hey, my biggest advice for anyone that seriously gets into gambling is don't. And then
and remember, Denny, he said invest.
Yes, I did. I guess I did.
My second
thank you for calling in, Pete. All right.
Got it.
All right. He knew what he's talking about there. I guess when you're living in Las Vegas, I would imagine that's much more in the news cycle, in your media feed, so on and so forth, because it's such an industry in that city, not unlike we would have in LA with entertainment or any of the other industries that are native to our place.
Yeah, it's a little bit different too, especially because I got my degree in journalism and media studies. So sports betting wasn't something that I was really exposed to until I moved out here for college. I was a military kid, so I bounced around everywhere. So I stayed in Vegas when I was young, but not enough to really experience the vices of it. But when you get to college, everyone sports bets, and you kind of see how people mismanage it and the bad habits that people have for it. And then also too, it's just something that's interesting if you really just enjoy numbers. And so I had the sports aspect where, in college I was covering it, I was getting to do things with it. And then when the Vegas aspect is I start learning about line movements and like casinos and the VIG and just all the little things like that. And then you start picking up stuff like you see on the mainstream media where they talk about these big parlays, like, oh, some guy put $10 to win, 20 grand. And then you actually start looking at the numbers and it's like, oh, parlay and the reason that they're able to build these giant casinos in the desert is because people take things like parlays and stuff like that. And you try and educate people and you try and do that, right? And then people are like, oh, no, it's whatever,
Right.
I think that's the main issue with how quickly I think sports betting is great. I think if you do it, as long as you follow the core rules where it's like you never bet money that you aren't willing to lose, you have it separate to the side. So let's just say like link
not the college fund.
No, not a college fund.
Okay.
Don't unless you don't like the kid.
Right. Could be a trade school for you. Yes.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. Right.
You're gonna have a scholarship, kid. That's it. So.
Yeah. Play ball. All right. Okay. Fair enough. I got we were digging into your bio and found out there's a couple things that you claim, and now we're going to test you on them. So one of these is, if I read right, you're a First Amendment rights specialist.
Oh, I love some free speech.
Okay. All right. So let's take a First Amendment quiz. A couple of questions, just random. Just breathe. It's going to be okay. All right. Let's start with this. True or false, the First Amendment protects students while they're at school?
Designated free speech area, yeah.
Hey, nailed it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about this one? True or false, the Constitution prohibits public school teachers from teaching about religion in school. Is that true or false?
True.
That one's false. So you're 1-1. So far, I don't know that I'd bet on you, but we're going to keep going. All right. Next is, can a reporter be sent to jail for refusing a judge's order to reveal the identity of his or her source, news source?
False.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, they can, Josh. If you ever watch any of those crime shows, anyways, I watch a lot of them, like Barnaby and Cannon and so forth. All right, how about this one? I got one more for you. How about, I always like this one. This one always gets my guess, right? The First Amendment does not protect which of the following religious beliefs? Islam, Satanism, Christianity, or the First Amendment protects all of the above?
All the above.
No, it's Satanism. So just always answer Satanism whenever that comes up, and you'll always get. You're right. You got that one right. I was joking. Okay. All right, you did pretty good on that. You did more than you missed, so that was good. Yeah. Do you like that?
Oh, I love it. I should have studied a little bit more. I didn't know I had to polish off the degree. I might have to send it back to you and then earn it back.
There was something else that these are your words, not mine. That you're an expert in AP style, which for those of us who don't know, that's Associated Press style of writing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So that's like capitalizations, numbers, things like that. Do you write out the word doctor? Is it DR? That kind of stuff. Fun stuff. So Marley's going to grab the screen now. She's the producer, and let's see if we can we can drill you a little bit more here, because we got to make sure we got the right guy. Okay, AP style quiz number 1. Oh, that's not what we want. All right, can you read that one?
Oh no, it's a little blurry. Wait, I'll try.
Okay. Television station broadcasted the public service announcement yesterday. Either broadcasted or broadcast.
Broadcasted, past tense.
Let's see. It's broadcast. Ooh. Damn it. Okay. When you said expert, okay. Anyways, question number 2. Doctor, spelled out, or DR period, Roberts is a well-respected physician.
DR.
Let's see. Bam. All right. Now you're rolling, baby. Okay. Number 3, the 8 a.m. with no periods next to the A&M, or A&M meeting is mandatory. With periods or no periods on AM?
Give me periods for 500, Denny.
Boom. On a roll, baby. Okay. Now I might bet on you right now. We greeted ambassador, lowercase a, or ambassador.
Uppercase.
Which one?
Uppercase.
Let's see. Oh, dude, you're on fire right now. Okay. Question 5. The U.S. Army, with the A low or the A capitalized, led the American forces into Iraq.
Capital.
Let's see. Yeah, and you'll notice at the end, they capitalized Iraq. That should have been lowercase because we beat them in the war. That's why they should take the lowercase. Okay. Question number 6. The girl is 15 with the 1 in 5 or 15.
Numerical.
Let's see.
Man, you should have opened up with, I feel like a pitcher on the first one that was like surprised. Like I threw a pitch and then you homered off of it. And
then you started hammering. All right. You got like 6 in a row. So 5 in a row now. Let's meet at 5:30. Watermelon Road, RD, or road spelled out?
Ooh, you got to do RD.
Let's see. That one's rough. It told you incorrect, but I would have gave it to you if I was your teacher, especially if you were good in football. I would have gave you that one. I need you in the game. Apple Valley, Minnesota, MINN, MN, or you write out Minnesota is Larry's hometown.
You write it out.
Let's see. You know, it says correct, but Larry's actually from Idaho. So I don't know if I could give you that one. All right. Last one. We always got to throw in our religion because we're pretty close. Oh, there's 2 more? Oh, yeah. We'll go 10 here. All right. Religion's important. We share a wall with the United Korean Methodist Church, right? And then I can see St. Jerome's from where we stand right now. So there we go. The New Testament is part of the Bible, lowercase b or capital B?
Uppercase.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. And then I think that means that all people whose last names are Bible have to go lowercase. That's what that means. Yeah. All right. Finally, question number 10. The American Revolution is a historic event or it's an historic event?
An.
Dude. Okay. You know what? 7 for 10. You still pass. I still get to put you in the game. So as long as you're playing after school, I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because then the line doesn't change because my quarterback's here. So that's good. Did you like those quizzes or not really? That was kind of rude.
Oh, that's fun.
I thought it was hilarious.
Dude, you know what? You passed both. So now you can officially be our gambling expert for backgammon as well as everything else. I hope you'll take that on.
Yeah, I don't think literacy has a good correlation with sports betting.
Yeah, you might be right about that.
If that's what you need. I can get the library.
You might be right about that one. Hey, tell me, Josh, a little bit about how your podcast came to be, how you got to that point, and what do you cover on the show?
Oh, yeah. So Benchwarmers and Burners podcast. I got the name originally because this was when, a lot of athletes were getting caught for having burner accounts on social media.
Okay.
So for example, guys like Kevin Durant, Odell Beckham, Contavious Caldwell Pope their name would be, Kevin Durant's my favorite player, or like Rockstar KD. And then they're like defending themselves in the third person, that kind of stuff. So it was kind of funny inside joke between me and some of, my college friends. So that's where the name came up, Benchwarmers and Burners. But
Okay.
I try and do a weekly show where we have like some former athletes. I got some like old Dixie State football players. We get other sports bettors, just casual fans, and then other journalists. Some of the most recent guys that we had was like Zach Noble from Ball is Life. He came on to talk a little bit about the draft and the Minnesota Timberwolves. But it's kind of a little bit of a sports comedy show. We don't take it too serious, but we do cover betting a lot. We kind of like divulge in it, and we just talk about, usually we try and talk about all the safe habits, but usually people don't like that was part of the episodes. They like talking about all the stupid stories we see or the dumb stuff that we see in casinos people do and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Nice. Well, I enjoyed my time on there. And we had a good conversation diving into my Lakers, and then they came up with the championship. So I kind of feel like we broke that story.
Yeah, we did. We were like, we were pretty animated about it. We were talking about how we were calling it not just one championship. We were like,
That's right.
Miami Heat.
That's right. Yeah.
Heat press conference.
Hey, how about how did you get involved in sports in the first place, Josh? Like, were you like it when you were a kid? Did you play on teams? What got you going?
Well, I think it's one of those things where, it's just something that you were involved in even from a young age. You like play on teams and then you just enjoy the atmosphere. And then something I got really into was just like the narrative of it and different, listening to different athletes and hearing their stories. And I kind of just enjoyed that as like an outlet to try and, like when you hear stuff about like Kobe Bryant, you're like, oh, that's a cool athlete. Then you actually go and learn about Kobe Bryant, and you learn about, his time in Italy. And then, you're like, oh, that's really cool. Then you go to a different athlete and you start doing that. And I just thought it was really interesting because most people just see these guys as somebody, on the screen. They don't think of them as human beings. They don't think of them. They always hear the argument, oh, these guys are getting paid millions of dollars. Why aren't they out there? But, these guys have flaws and ambitions. And same thing with women's athlete too. I feel like women's athlete don't get the type of coverage that they deserve. So I really wanted to get into journalism to try and really just cover sports and talk about some topics that just aren't as mainstream, if that makes any sense. Nice.
Yeah, no doubt about it. How about did you like the Lakers coming down with that championship? Because I know you do have an affinity for the greatest franchise in the history of sport.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, it was a little bit of obviously they came in cocky. They came in mad cocky that Friday. They wore the Kobe jerseys. AD did his famous. Like we were talking about on my show, how AD is the only player who looks like he can get shot right every single game, and then just comes back like it's nothing. Like this,
like the running back AD.
Yeah, he's just like a water buffalo. You're just like, is he all right? And then he just gets like rolling in the mud and then comes back up all fine. But it was great. I'm glad that they won it. It's hilarious too because J.R. Smith's on our team and he played, I think, was it like less than 30 minutes in the playoffs, but he's the first person to take his shirt off, first person to hold the
Yes, he was. He was.
And it feels great to tie 17 with Boston now, And then anyone that argues that the five in Minneapolis don't count, which they do because it's the same franchise, we didn't even change.
That's right.
Then I don't count any of those ones Boston had because those guys were like playing against milkmen and they were smoking, they were smoking cigarettes in the locker room at halftime.
Right, exactly. And there's like this regional draft where they got all the best players. So I got a question for you because Hellwig, he's a comedian and he came on the show last week and he's like, really, you counting those ones out of Minnesota? I'm like, absolutely, same franchise. Yeah. How about something like this? The Houston Oilers became the Tennessee Titans. So let's just say the Houston Oilers won an NBA title, or better yet, didn't Seattle?
Yeah, they won one. They won one,
and so they're now the Oklahoma Thunder, right? The Oklahoma City Thunder. So does Oklahoma City get that, or by virtue of changing your nickname, do you lose it?
So, I mean, technically, it's the same exact franchise. My personal feeling. So, I feel like if Seattle gets another team, not if, actually when they get another team, because they're starving for it, and I know they'll get one. When they get another team, I do feel like the Adam Silver has to transfer it over. But that franchise move. So technically, if you look at like Oklahoma City Basketball Reference Wikipedia, like the Thunder has that one championship, and all their records, like, well, Kevin Durant owns all their scoring titles now, but when back then you look and it'd be like steals leader, Gary Payton, all that. So that's a question because when a team transfers like that, you have to keep all that records because it's not like an expansion team. It wasn't like the Charlotte Bobcats, So all the rebounding records, all that kind of stuff, for that franchise, because it's like the number one Nick Collins. I'm trying to remember his name.
Right. Yeah, I think it was Nick Collins.
Yeah, Nick Collins. He was on the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he's like Mr. Oklahoma because he's been on the team for like 20 years. He's like their Udonis Haslem,
Right.
So yeah, they didn't start off.
And we do know that Wikipedia doesn't lie. So we know that's.
Yeah. Well, if you go on like NBA.com and you look at everything of Oklahoma City Thunder is associated with the Seattle Supersonics. They just carried everything over. But I feel if they give them a new franchise because they're going to pick up the Seattle name, I almost feel like you kind of have to move it. It just
I don't know. I'm not giving the Timberwolves back those 5.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
They're not getting those 5 back. So that's all. I'm just laying that down right now.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting it back. Mm-hmm. We just caught Boston. So, hey, tell me a little bit about your Sunday morning. Is that a live show on satellite radio? Is it satellite radio you're on?
No, so it's not satellite. It's just a local. Local KUNV. We do it. We had to take a little break because of the COVID, especially because there was no sports to talk about. So we went from going from a weekly show to just 2 weeks, and then you really get to know your co-host.
I would imagine. Yes.
So many times you can talk about each other's like families and friends, but well, but it's good. We talk about it. We started the show with we talk about everything local first. We just got the Raiders. We talk about Our Lady Aces too. Asia Wilson just got the WMVP.
Nice.
Stuff. Yeah. And then we rip UNLV for always just giving us false hope. Your alma mater. After that, we go in and then we talk about basically everything like sports related news, anything that we wanted to, and then we finish off by whatever because it's Sunday, we'll rapid fire all our NFL picks. But when there's none of that, we'll just talk about what NBA games or MLB games are on that day. So
gotcha. All right. Well, let us know where we can find you. Once you rip off your social media stuff, want to make sure people got that.
Yeah. So my username for Instagram and Twitter is @JAWSHLOZANO. And to keep it simple, the podcast itself is just @the BNB pod. It's no A, it's just the N that no word and, it's just the N. And just go follow it. That's the same handle for basically Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Love it, buddy. Hey, thanks for being on the show. And we'll be checking back in with you when we're setting our odds and sending you over some Mick Ultra.
Oh, I love that. And hey, go Dodgers, baby.
Yeah, we got to do this. All right. Thank you, Josh.
All right. Take care.
Later, bud. Good. Cut him off before he said take care because I forgot to throw him off the show. But he's going to be our gambling guy, so I can't be mean. Can't be too rude to him. All right. Okay, we got you out in time so everybody can settle in. Dodgers, we need 3 straight. Can we do this? Let's hope so. All right. That didn't suck. It was fun, right? I like the call-ins. Good job, Ronald and Pete, right?
Hey.
Yeah, those are good questions. Those made for the show. I like our new feature, the call-in. That's working for us. Okay, we got a big weekend, getting some shows ready for next week. Remember, we'll be at LA 36, 9 a.m. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Just find us there or here, always. And what else we got? Some box cobbler.
Yep.
Kick it out with the Buckster.
Hey, tell your friends about us. Subscribe to us.
Why wouldn't you subscribe? Why wouldn't you follow us on Patreon? Do the thing. Help us out. Subscribe. Give us a comment. All right, peoples. Let's go Dodgers.
Yeah.
Stories with Denny Lennon starts at 5. I hope I get home on time. I hope I get home on time. Hey, man, hit the gas, will ya? Sports Stories with Denny Lennon comes on at 5. Meow.
Thanks for watching and listening. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is produced by me, Marley Rice, and Christine Jinbo, and edited by bad boy Bobby McCall. Original music courtesy of Lennon Music Production, and original images courtesy of Sienna Lennon Photography. A big thank you to all of our contributors of the show. Sports Stories with Denny Lennon is a production of Sports Stories Inc. and available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you watch and listen. Make sure you press that subscribe button, give us a review, leave a comment. It will really help us grow the show. And you know what else will help us grow the show? Head on over to patreon.com/Denny Lennon to get some never-before-seen videos, pictures, interviews, and so much more. We are all over social media and constantly sending out clips on Facebook, conducting fun polls on Twitter, going live on Instagram, and more. To find all of our social media links, head on over to sportsstoriespodcast.com. SSDL proudly supports the My Stuff Bags Foundation and the Heroes Movement. Links to how you can support and help these foundations can be found on our website. We also want to give a big thank you to all of our partners of the show. So, as Coach Lennon would say, any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email me, Marley, at info@sportsstoriespodcast.com. We want to thank all of our followers and listeners, and we will see you next time.
Check it out, book.